What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Cam ATL. Shout out to the DFS squad. Shout out to everybody watching this video right now. Drop a like down below because I already know you're going to love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is the Fantasy Locker Room podcast, so of course I have Uncle Craig with me. What's going on, man?
What's up, guys? How about them Cowboys? Let's go.
All right. Yeah. Super fan. How about them Falcons getting lucky at the end of the game and winning? All right. So
Oh,
in this video, we're going to cover on each position. We're going to cover pretty much every player in each position, and we're going to really get down to the nitty gritty, so to speak. And everything in this video is going to be something that you definitely need to listen to. Me and my uncle are going to put our heads together. He looks at things differently than I look at things. So I feel like the way I view things and the way he views things, if we come together like we do over the phone anyways all the time, we might as well record it so you guys can hear it. I know you guys have been watching the podcast already, but if you haven't and you're new to the channel, this is a segment that we'll post a few videos a week on my YouTube channel where we come together and kind of give both of our views on people. Let's go ahead and get straight into week 4 NFL. If you want to join the squad and get in on this money with the squad, go to greenlightdfs.com. I send 3 GPPs and 3 cash to everybody. So you got to know really what kind of what you're in it for. Okay, GPP, you got to know if you play GPP, there's a chance of losing, but you also have the chance of winning big. If you play cash, you're pretty much going to profit slowly but surely all throughout the year. So know what you want to do and play those lines that I send you. Let's go ahead and get straight into the slate, starting off at quarterback. Let's go ahead and start off with the most expensive guy, Tom Brady, going against Carolina. It's a good matchup against Carolina. Carolina's given up 281 passing yards a game to quarterback. If you look at the stats, Tom Brady's at home where he always tends to excel. And he's had a few very good games, over 30 Draftkings points the last 2 weeks in a row. And now he gets the Carolina team. The only thing I'm worried about a little bit with this game is that Carolina's not really able to keep up offensively. But one thing with the Patriots that we know is they pretty much run the score up on everybody. What are your thoughts on Tom Brady?
so Carolina's defense has been legit. I know they got beat by New Orleans last week, but New Orleans is a quality team. So is New England. But Tom Brady's price is really what's scaring me off of him this week. I like several of the cheaper quarterbacks at their values. So I am going to be avoiding Tom Brady this week. That's my personal opinion on the situation, just based
Right.
on price.
No, yeah, and I totally understand. He is expensive. Go ahead and go down to your next tier guy that you like.
Well, I want to touch on Matt Ryan. I like him as a GPP play. His price is 600 off of Tom Brady. I like the potential for Matt any given week, him and Julio as a stack, especially in GPP. One of my
Right.
best games, one of my best wins last season was that week that him and Julio went off. Julio went for like 300 yards and stuff. You guys probably remember it. But
Right.
so I
Yeah, that
like
was a
him
good
as
week.
GPP. But as far as my cash games, I'm still going to avoid him. Uh, Carson Wentz, I like quite a bit. This is a pretty high total game. It's not the highest of the week, but it's up there at a 47.5 with only a -1 going towards the Chargers. So as far as point totals and closeness goes, this is the highest point total with the closest point spread. So
Right.
it's
And
projected to be competitive.
and with Carson Wentz, you know that the Chargers at home, they're going to score some runs on this Philly defense. I mean, you saw what the Giants just did to them. They're banged up. They're missing a lot of guys. They're just really weak in that secondary right now. So the Chargers with Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen, they're going to do damage. Even Travis Benjamin's been looking solid. He had some moments last year where he was looking really, really, really good, and then he kind of died off towards the end. But still, yeah, Keenan
And
Allen and Phillip. Yeah,
Philly's run game is pretty non-existent. I know the Chargers secondary is pretty legit, but
right.
I expect Carson Wentz to do his thing. He's been very consistent so far this year. Last game was his worst outing, but he scored 24 and
Right.
29 in
The
week
only
one
the
and
only thing
two.
that the only thing that bothers me a little bit with that is he was at home, man. I mean, he scores 23 at Washington, 28 at Kansas City, and then 13 at home. Now, in his defense, the Giants are very good. covering the pass, but they're not good at all versus the run, which is why I will get into Jaquez Rogers once we get to running backs. But yeah, at the end of the day, this matchup is going to be high. It's going to be good scoring. I mean, yeah, the Chargers are only allowing 237 passing yards a game to quarterbacks so far this year and a little over a touchdown. But this game is set up to be a good one. Chargers are going to score points. You know Wentz is going to have to throw to get in on it. And I feel like he's going to be lowish owned. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that jump, that downgrade in price. I mean, you go from 8 to 7.4 with Matt Ryan, and then you go all the way down to 6.6 with Carson Wentz. Those huge two jumps, that's just really significant. And I just feel like he's going to be a pretty safe play. I like Carson Wentz a
Yeah.
lot this week.
Another really safe play and a guy I actually really love this week, Phillip Rivers. Going against Philadelphia. He hasn't had a huge game yet. He got 18 versus Denver, which is very good. Denver's defense is solid. He got 20 versus Miami, whose defense is non-existent. And then he just imploded and only got 6 versus Kansas City. But he's against a Philly team that's allowing 262 passing yards a game and nearly 2 passing touchdowns a game. I really love Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen in this matchup. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, being on the other side of that Wentz matchup, I'm definitely going to like Phillip Rivers for almost the same reasons that we talked about with Wentz. It's a high point total. It's a close game. They're at home for Phillip, even though that's not really a home field advantage there in their new LA digs
Right.
there. But
Right.
still he's not having to face an away crowd at least. And I like his spot there. We both, just to let the viewers know, both of us are cold on Mariota this week. We're not going to touch on too
Agree.
much on guys that we're not cold on, guys. We're just going to move to the guys that we like, just to keep
Right.
this going
That's
by
what
fast
yeah,
for you
and
guys.
that's why I skipped down to Rivers because Mariota's not in a good position this week, and I don't want y'all to even think he is. All right, he's not in a good position this week at all. Houston's only allowing 227 passing yards a game to quarterback. Yes, Houston got dominated by Tom Brady. He pretty much did anything he wanted, but you guys got to remember that's Tom Brady. He's the GOAT
Yeah,
in the NFL, and he can
that
pretty
that
much do that
skews.
to anybody.
Yeah, that skews a lot of those stats for opponent against. Whenever somebody goes off on them like Tom Brady did last week, after only 3 weeks, it's really going to make the opponent ranking out of whack. That 27 you see on the Draftkings, do not buy that 27 opponent ranking with Houston as the defense there.
Right. I mean, one good thing I kind of like about Mariota, and the only reason I maybe throw him in a GPP just because maybe. I mean, you saw last year that he has the 30-point upside. I mean, he scored 30 points, 30 DraftKings points in 2 games last year. So he's got that highish upside. He's got Decker on the team now. And Houston's kind of, Houston's not. They're kind of middle of the road versus the pass and middle of the road versus the run. So I feel like, I mean, Mariota's going to run and he's going to throw a little bit. It just is, it's all depends on whether Houston's really able to put that pressure on Tennessee. I think Mariota is going to have to throw a lot, but honestly, there's safer bets to go with and more people I'm confident in for less than 64, pretty much is what I'm
Agreed.
trying to say.
Agreed.
So next guy, let's go ahead and touch on Andy Dalton going against Cleveland. Andy Dalton's a guy I really like, man. It seemed like that offense really finally got it going. Me and my uncle, as well as me by myself in the videos last week, were big on AJ Green. I expected AJ Green to go back to his normal self, and what did he do? He went back to his normal self. Andy Dalton's got an amazing matchup here. It was a perfect time for him to finally find himself. They're going against a Cleveland team that's allowing 2 touchdowns a game to quarterback. Andy Dalton has struck. I mean, he only got 16 versus Green Bay, but Dalton and Green combination can be a good one here.
Okay, so I do like AJ Green, but I am completely disagreeing with you on Andy Dalton. I will be
Right.
fading him
No,
in
yeah,
every format.
Andy's one of the guys where like in AJ Green I'd play him in anything. With Andy Dalton
Right.
I would throw him in a GPP just because I don't think
Yeah.
many people are gonna play him, and he does have that upside if he throws 2 TDs to AJ.
Yeah, at that price, I mean, he still has the capability to go off. I just don't want to wager any of my bankroll dollars on him this week. It's just I'm not gonna do that. And if I lose because of it, he goes off and he's the guy. More power to the guys that took that chance.
Right. Well, who's the next guy that you want to bring up?
Okay. Well, hey guys, we're bringing this back by popular demand. Before I talk about this guy, I'm
Right.
gonna just set up the segment, okay?
Go ahead.
Uh, all right, guys, you guys seem to like our little hall pass segment that we did last week. And for the new listeners, I'll just set it up for you. We're basically going to have a list of guys each week that we are putting on our celebrity hall pass list. You know, you have that with your wife, 5 celebrities that you can maybe go and hook up with and not get in trouble with,
Right.
okay? Not get in trouble for it. So each week we're going to have our own hall pass list of guys that we absolutely love.
My
And
my uncle, let me just tell you guys, if you're new to the channel, my uncle loves mobile quarterbacks. If he's a quarterback and he can run, my uncle loves him, and every single one of them are on his hall pass.
right, for the most part. So, and that's why I think that the audience is going to be surprised at my hall pass quarterback for
Who?
this week.
Who?
My hall pass quarterback is Mr. Dumbface himself, Eli
Hey,
Manning.
I like the
Boom.
introduction, man.
All
I really
right.
like that. Damn,
Look,
you love Eli.
I
No,
I am a Dallas Cowboy homer. Eli is my sworn enemy, but he is on my hall pass list. We are star-crossed lovers this
yeah,
week,
yeah.
okay?
Tampa Bay
Last week,
sucks.
yeah, last week, let me get this out real quick for you, bro. Last week, Case Keenum threw for 369 yards and 3 touchdowns against Tampa Bay. All right, he scored 31.6 DraftKings points. I think Eli is in a great situation. Let me give you some extra news here, real quick. We didn't talk about much injuries, and we'll have to monitor all this, but I'm going to give you some defensive injuries from Tampa Bay. All right, we had their main man, Gerald McCoy, seen in a walking boot after the game with a sprained ankle. Who knows how serious it is? We'll find out later in the week, but he has potential of missing. We have Levante David, one of their best linebackers, with a high ankle sprain, and then one of their defensive ends, Noah Spence, is banged up. So you got 3 of their stud defenders
Yep.
out. Okay, now another reason I love Eli is because their run game is non-existent too. Okay, their running back Perkins is basically couldn't juke a walker from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
All right, like
Yeah, he's
seriously.
literally a running trash can.
No, no,
Yeah.
seriously. He would be zombie food.
Yeah, he's garbage, dude.
You know what I
He's
mean?
he's hey, hold on. Some zombies can be kind of quick now.
Well, it depends. Not in The Walking Dead.
Okay, and
They're
I've seen
fast
other
like 28
zombie
days
movies
later.
where they're fucking quick.
Right.
Right?
They can be like the ones from like when the zombies are in England for some reason they can run fast as hell,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they scare me.
Right.
But no, so like Orleans Darkwa is banged up, and so is Shane Vereen. All they have right now is Paul Perkins. Obviously, these guys might play. We don't know, but man, I'm not impressed with Paul
Yeah.
Perkins. I'm not
They're
impressed
gonna
with the
throw,
run game.
dude. They're gonna throw a
Eli,
lot.
right, and Brent Grimes missed last game. We have to keep an injury. That's another Tampa Bay defender injury
Right.
that we have to keep
Yeah,
an eye
I
on.
mentioned him in the video. I'm like, look, keep an eye on Brent Grimes, man, because Brent Grimes is solid. Okay, Brent Grimes is solid. Like I said, with my love for Odell, um,
But
he.
I see Odell now that he's healthy. I see
Oh
him
yeah,
just
it
beasting.
doesn't matter.
Even if Brent Grimes does play, I'm not scared of Odell.
And he's getting
Okay,
up there in
and
age too. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like Grimes
and they're
can't
just.
hang with Odell.
I think Eli's going to have a little bit more time, especially if these injuries are inactives towards the end of the
The
week.
fact the
Eli,
fact that McCoy was in a walking boot pretty much tells me he's probably gonna miss. That's their best defensive player. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like
by
why
far.
would they rush him back? You know? I mean, yeah. Eli, I mean, yeah, that Giants offensive line has looked bad and he doesn't have much time, but he's going against a perfect matchup. Without McCoy, he's going to have a shit ton of time. And maybe not a shit ton, but enough to connect with Odell, Sterling Shepard, Brandon Marshall. And that's another thing. He finally got those other guys involved. He finally got
Right,
Brandon Marshall involved. He finally
exactly.
connected. Odell had a shit ton of targets. Yeah, it's going to be a good situation, man. I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Cool. All right. Do
okay.
you have one? Do you have a Hall
A
pass
hall pass
quarterback for?
quarterback? Yes, I do. I have a hall pass quarterback for you, and that is Tyrod Taylor. All right? I know you're the mobile quarterback lover, but
Yes,
I'm going to
for
go ahead
sure.
and take that from you here. All right, and I'm going to say that Tyrod Taylor is definitely on my hall pass. Going against Atlanta, a team that has never been good versus the pass, 272 passing yards a game they're allowing the quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor has scored 19, down week against Carolina with 10, and then 17 versus Denver, who is a solid defense. This is the best matchup he has faced this year against Atlanta. The thing is Atlanta is actually solid versus the run. Okay, but they suck against pass catching backs, and LaShawn McCoy has been gotten 14 targets in the pass game the last 2 games. Okay, so Tyrod's gonna have to throw, whether it's throwing to McCoy or throwing down the field. Either way, we know Atlanta's gonna score. We know Tyrod's gonna have to throw and keep up. Great situation for Tyrod Taylor at only 5,300. I love him, man.
And he's gonna run,
And
and
he's
he's
gonna
gonna
run
run for. He
exactly.
can run for that touchdown, and yeah, I like Tyrod. I like that call, man.
Yeah,
Tyrod's
I
interesting.
love that one. All right,
Uh,
so let's touch on.
so
Huh? Go ahead.
real quick,
Go
there's
ahead.
a couple other guys that I'm interested in that we skipped over, so I don't want people to think that I'm not down with them. So Carson Palmer, I actually like this matchup
Yeah, me
this week
too. Me
for
too.
Carson. Once again, they're David Johnson going down. Their running game is pretty non-existent. San Francisco defense is lacking. They're at home inside their dome. I think Carson Palmer is set up for a good game this week against San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, and I want to mention something. Patrick Patterson has not been the cornerback that we are used to seeing. Like, he has not been that great versus receivers. Like, he's actually been giving up a good amount of yards this year. He's not a guy that I really think that you have to avoid, and a lot of people might be still shying away from him. So I'm okay with playing, and the reason I'm saying that is because I feel like San Francisco's actually going to be able to score on this Arizona defense. And I
Yeah,
really think this game actually stays close. And San Francisco's offense looked great last week, obviously, against the Rams. That was a shootout. That was a fucking amazing game. Probably the best of the season. Even at the end of the season, it's probably still going to be the best one. But yeah, I mean, I think San Francisco's going to put up points. I think Palmer's going to have to throw. I love Larry Fitzgerald. So yeah, I got to love Carson
yeah,
too, for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
That's good.
yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger, I'm cold on, even though that price is so attractive for Ben. You know
Yeah,
what I
he's
mean?
got high upside, man. He's a good GPP guy.
I agree. Stafford against Minnesota, not the best matchup
No.
there, but he has capability. I know you had some fresh takes on Cam in your video. I watched your YouTube earlier. It was a great analysis, by the way, man. I loved
Thanks,
it.
man. Appreciate it.
But one take you had was Cam, and I am scared to death of Cam.
Right.
I do not want to roll him
I
anywhere
understand.
near cash,
Right.
and I honestly don't even want to waste any money on GPPs on Cam. But I do agree he is the type of play that could win. Like, he's got the great matchup. He could go for the 5 touchdowns. So I liked your take on it, but
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere
I'll
near
go
it.
I'll go ahead and talk about him for a second again. All right. Look, New England is allowing 262 passing yards a game to quarterback. Now, look, I understand Cam Newton's missing Kelvin Benjamin. He's missing a shit ton of people. Greg Olson. All right? Like, he's missing pretty much everybody. But at the end of the day, like I said in the video, these guys are in the NFL. Okay? Devin Funchess is in the NFL. All right? He's good enough against a literally last in the league versus the past New England defense that New England will score. So Cam Newton is going to have to do nothing but drop back and just air it out constantly throughout this game. Now, I understand where you're coming from because that's where majority of the population is going to think. You know what I'm saying? The reason I had to bring it up and had to mention GPP play because he literally is the exact definition of GPP this week. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's got the upside. He's got the upside. He can run on with his feet, all that. I understand that the thing with Belichick in New England is they like to take your best player out of the game. You would think if Kelvin misses the game that they're going to try to shut down McCaffrey. But here's the problem. All right. None of those linebackers are quick enough to hang with McCaffrey, regardless if they want to stop him or not. Okay, that's how I feel about
Right.
that. McCaffrey's gonna get open. He's an amazing receiving running back. Okay, he's gonna get open, and Cam's gonna look to him often. So I mean, yes, I understand. In cash, it's not safe.
Yeah.
It is
So
a
so to
risk.
put it
Right.
to put it in perspective for the listeners,
Right.
let's say you're playing 20 entries into that 1.6 million play action tourney, right? You're maxing the 20
Right.
out. How many cam lineups out of that 20 would you be willing to go?
Maybe two. I
Okay.
feel
Okay.
comfortable
So
going one, but
10%.
maybe two. Yeah, that's what I mean by
Okay.
super
So
low.
guys,
Yeah.
exactly. We like the opportunity. It could happen. It could blow up, but we're willing to put 10% of our multi-entry GPPs on Cam. This is not something that either one of us are really feeling risk-wise. So yeah, I might be willing to do one just to make sure I have one with him in case he is the blow-up guy. But I'm still probably doing zero. But I feel you. I got you now.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy. I mean, it's just a perfect. It's the dream matchup. You wish he had Kelvin, obviously. I mean, and you still got to pay attention to that. Maybe Kelvin is going to be all good. You
Yeah,
never
but
know. He's not looking
last
good.
week against New Orleans, it was the dream matchup with Kelvin, and he got us
Yeah, yeah,
11.3.
you're right. You're right, man. I mean, but look, GPP, I'm okay with playing Cam. I think if any game
Um,
is going to be the game he actually starts doing something, it would be this
yeah,
one versus New England, man. He's going to have to nothing but throw. Okay,
yeah.
honestly. So those are the situations where you just throw him in GPP and you hope for the best, but you don't play him heavy. All right, but I feel like I gotta mention him. Okay,
No, I feel you.
another guy, a little bit under him in price, Jared Goff versus Dallas.
Yeah, I was just about to go there.
One thing about your team, man. Yeah, I know you're a huge Cowboy fan, and Cowboys are my second
No,
team. I'm from Atlanta.
dude.
Atlanta's my first, but I'm living in Dallas now. So I gotta say, I love Dallas too, and I hope they win this matchup. But Dallas is allowing 266 yards a game through the air. That is their major weakness. They still have
Yeah,
yet to fix that secondary. And it's
correct.
really been making that offense have to do extra when if y'all would just boost up that secondary, you would be so much better.
No, I definitely like Goff this week. I feel like he's a pretty solid floor contributor. I've just been impressed with their new coaching and how they're going about these games. They're so balanced, and I just feel comfortable with Goff. I mean, one of their wide receivers, we'll get to him later, but one of their wide receivers is in my hall pass list, so we'll get to that when we get there.
Right.
Next guy I wanted to talk about, I know you already got Tyrod Taylor, so guys, we're cool on all these other guys, cool on Bortles. I've been writing Deshaun Kaiser every week. I like him, and I even like him this week, but I'm going to go right below him. Trevor Simeon is just a stud so far at home, okay? And if Kirk Cousins can go off on Oakland the way he did on Sunday, I feel that Trevor Simeon could do the same thing. He's already put up some quality starts at home. 24 and 24, pretty low floor. He's not going for crazy yards, but he's getting those touchdowns. So I really like Trevor Simeon as a cash game play, and I definitely like him as a stack on several of the GPPs that I would be interested
Yeah,
in playing this week.
I definitely agree with you there, and I'm gonna give one more quarterback, and then maybe we'll touch on a few real quick. But another guy I really want to talk about is Deshaun Watson. This guy, he was great at Clemson. He came to the NFL. He struggled week one, but he's really getting it together, man. 17 DraftKings points versus Cincinnati week two, 25 versus New England. That just shows how big of a factor when you're going against an offense that's going to score at will against you, how big of a factor that is for your quarterback. Deshaun had to air it out a lot, and he succeeded. And if Deshaun can do it, Cam can do it. All right, I just want to say that. Now, Deshaun did also, I want to reiterate, since I brought Cam up again, Deshaun did it without really getting Hopkins involved. Hopkins was, for the most part, held in check. Okay, so Deshaun Watson pretty much did a very good job at spreading the ball around, even to these guys not named DeAndre Hopkins. So Cam doesn't have any big names. I'm pretty sure he can still move the ball as well. But Tennessee is horrible. I mean, you thought the 266 that Dallas was giving up a game, 291 passing yards a game to quarterback. That is absolutely ridiculous. Deshaun Watson's going to have a great game. I love him. He is on my hall pass. I love him at 51
Okay,
for
nice.
sure.
All right, and then I want to just touch on Case Keenum. Man, he just went off last week. I don't expect a repeat of what he did last week against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay had Grimes banged up and is a different team. I think Detroit's defense is a little bit better, slower pace of play. But they're at home. Uh, Man, I would be willing to play him in some GPPs. That price is just begging to be played, especially with Stefan Diggs just seeming like he's almost uncoverable right now.
Right.
But we'll get to that. He's worthy of a mention. I guess Flacco and Hoyer we're cool on. Not really.
Yeah, yeah. Flacco and Hoyer, I'm not really on this week. I think we're good to move on to running backs now. We've talked about the
Sounds
guys we
good.
really like. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and touch on week 4 running backs. Of course, at the top of the list at 8,700, you have Le'Veon Bell. Here's the deal. He hasn't looked like the old Le'Veon yet. And until he does so, I'm not going to pay that amount for him, especially against a Baltimore team only allowing 84 rushing yards a game to running back and not even a touchdown a game and under a touchdown. So, I mean, Le'Veon Bell is not a great play to me, even with matchup considered. And he's just 8,700 is just too much with so much running back value on this slate. How do you feel about it, Craig?
Well, of course he has to be played. He gets so much percentage of his backfield touches and targets. So I do think he needs to be played, but there are better options to save money and build your
Dude, this
construction.
is a
I'm about
horrible
to
matchup, man. It's like
The
Baltimore's,
pricing is tight. The
it's,
pricing is very
dude,
tight this week. So
yeah,
if you can save money, that money is important savings this week. So I agree with you in a price saving, in a money savings standard. I believe in passing on Bell, but come on, he's Le'Veon Bell. But the reason we're going to pass on him, and we're going to get to some of these other guys that we're just liking. Okay, here's my next guy in my hall pass list, and that is LaShawn McCoy.
yeah.
Okay. For the same reasons we kind of talked about earlier, as far as Atlanta's defense and pass catching backs. I know Riddick kind of let us down last week, but he's not the talent of a LaShawn McCoy. He
No.
doesn't get the shares that LaShawn McCoy gets. Okay, LaShawn McCoy is going to get a lot of run in this game. He's going to get those rushing attempts. I mean, he's been getting targeted around 7 times a game, 6, 7, and 7. I think this is a nice blow up spot for LaShawn McCoy. I think he's basically almost game script proof in a game that could go pretty high. I think the Buffalo Atlanta game. Do you have the numbers in front of you on the totals?
The total,
I got it.
yeah,
It's 48 and a half. It's 48 and a half. So it's right there with the Carolina New England game. And Atlanta is heavily favored. So,
right.
there might be some good dump off light coverage to him at the end of the game if this does end up going in Atlanta's
Oh,
favor.
dude.
So I like him even if the script gets out of hand.
Look, I love LaShawn McCoy. I mean, and the only thing that you would worry about I mean, not even worry about, but the worst case scenario is somehow Buffalo gets up on Atlanta. And, you kind of want Atlanta to do what they're expected to do, and that's to get a lead and them to throw to LaShawn a lot.
Right.
Because Atlanta's actually been very solid against the run, only allowing 75 rushing yards a game to running back. Like, we've stepped it up. Our linebackers are doing a great job. Our defensive line has gotten solid. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that is getting up and giving up on the run,
Right,
like that game
right.
against the Green
Part
Bay.
of it,
You know what I mean?
probably,
I
yeah.
think part of
I
that.
mean, it definitely has to do with us kind of shaping up our linebacker core, and our defensive line is much better now as well too. So, I just,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's one of those matchups where, you know, I love
Yeah.
LaShawn McCoy to death, and he's going to get a lot through the air, and it's a great situation. I agree with you on LaShawn. A guy that I really like under him at 8,200 is Ezekiel Elliott. I think
Is
he,
this
yes,
a hall
yes,
pass
fuck
worthy?
yeah, he is on
He's
my
on your
hall
hall pass?
pass. Yes,
All right,
100%.
nice.
Zeke has yet to have a huge game, but I think this game right here could actually be it. He's going against a Rams team that is bottom in the league versus the run. They're literally just giving it up. Carlos Hyde went crazy versus them last week, and Zeke is a whole nother beast than Carlos Hyde. Okay, Zeke is about to eat until he's completely just full. All right, he's already looking super full from whatever he's been eating. So I mean, the yards have so many calories that he is actually looking chunky out there. He needs to stop. He needs to stop wearing those
I,
short shirts and showing off that fucking beer gut. It looks like Jesus.
I know. I was just thinking about that the other day, dude. I'm like sitting at him, and I see all those photos of him like that. I was like, don't you think it would be a more effective punishment if the league were to like set something down to him, saying, "All right, guys, before the games for the next 6 weeks, both teams can just like run by Zeke and rub his belly for luck, like a Buddha."
Like Buddha as a punishment. You never. You
Right.
never.
Instead of suspending him, he doesn't care. That's just like a break for him. Like he gets to go
Right.
out to the club and chill.
Yeah.
I mean, make him
No,
like
hell
make.
no. He doesn't need to be in the club no more.
We need to rub his belly like a
Dude,
Buddha. At least he needs to let the Cowboys rub it for good luck,
Zeke is
man. If he
Zeke is
gets
one of
sent
those
out.
guys that frustrates me, man, because he's such an amazing talent, but he just can't shake the off the field shit. It's just
Right.
ridiculous, man, and I hate even
Well,
getting into
and
talking about
and
it because
so
it's ridiculous.
yeah, but another just real quick. So this they're still gonna check into his court situation next week. So this could potentially be the last week he
Yep.
plays if that doesn't go his way. So
And that could
they
that
might
could
be
be in his
extra
mind.
motivated.
Exactly, that could be in his mind, and he could
Right.
want to go out and really end it on a high note.
Cool.
All right.
But I like Zeke,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
of course.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's go ahead. Todd Gurley versus Dallas. Dallas is solid versus the run, only allowing 73 rushing yards a game. But Gurley has been absolutely nuts, man. I mean, yes, his
Yeah.
matchups have been cakewalks, though. If you look at his matchups, I mean, the Colts, they're not good at stopping the run. Washington, not good at stopping the run. San Francisco, not good at stopping. He's finally facing the defense that actually
Right.
is very solid versus the run. How do
Right.
you feel
And
about
you
him?
attack Dallas through yeah, I agree with that. You attack Dallas through the air, not through the
Right,
run.
and
I
but
mean,
Gurley's been getting targets too, so Gurley could get some solid points through the air just because he's such a big focal point of the offense.
right.
But with Dallas's secondary being so bad, the receivers for the Rams like Cooper Kupp and Sammy Watkins, those guys are going to be able to get open. You know what I'm saying? So they're not really going to have to rely too heavily on hoping Gurley's open. They're going to be able to move it down the
Right.
field more against Dallas. So, yeah,
And I think having Gurley there like softens up. It just makes it like you just mentioned another guy on my hall pass list. I'm gonna go ahead and call him out before we get there. But Sammy Watkins, as long as he clears his concussion protocol this week, Sammy Watkins is on my hall
I
pass
agree. Yeah,
list
if
for
he's
this week.
healthy, if he
Larry
come in
Fitzgerald
okay,
just
yeah.
ate.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald just
Yeah,
freaking
yeah, and
dominated.
he's old as dirt, but
That was
he turned back the clock for some of those catches. It was ridiculous.
right.
Okay,
I think Zeke having a big game here eats into Todd Gurley a little
yeah,
bit. You know, Dallas's best defense is Ezekiel Elliott. Okay,
exactly.
time possession, keeping the ball. So hopefully we can get that worked out this week. That's what I'm going for. So Todd Gurley's not as attractive this week, but you cannot deny what he's
Yeah,
been
he's been a
doing.
beast.
Uh,
He's
okay,
been a beast.
go ahead, bro.
Let's go ahead and move on to Devontae Freeman at 7,300 going against Buffalo. Um, It's actually a good matchup on the ground. Buffalo's allowing 106 rushing yards a game to running backs, nearly a touchdown a game to running backs. And Devontae Freeman is just one thing about Devontae Freeman is he is very good in domes, inside. He gets tons of big fucking. He's just been amazing at home in this new stadium for Atlanta. This whole offense is going to be clicking. I like Devontae Freeman at 73.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like him. I don't love him, but
Yeah,
he did
he's
good
a
for me
cash
last
game
week.
guy. He's a cash game. He's got a high floor, so I
Yeah,
like him.
I like that. I like that for sure.
Um,
Melvin Gordon, I'm not really in love with him, especially with that questionable
yeah,
tag.
and it's
He
a
had
tough
a knee
matchup.
injury, left the
Philly's
game.
tough.
Yeah, so we're just going to pass that because right now we don't know enough about his information, so we're not going to spend too much. I know this is a guy you like. Go
Yeah,
for it.
Christian McCaffrey. Look, man, like I mentioned earlier, with Belichick, he's going to take out the best player, and if Kelvin's out, they're going to try to stop McCaffrey. The problem is they just don't have anybody who can match up with McCaffrey. Um, I mean, unless they literally put a cornerback there just to follow him around, but that would just throw them off defensively completely. They're going to try to get a linebacker or maybe double team him with linebackers, but McCaffrey's just too good. He's just too quick, man. He's a very, very good receiver, and he's gonna be involved a lot. This is a game where they're gonna be trailing. They're gonna have to throw a lot. He's definitely going to be a guy that is going to get a shit ton of targets. Don't care. That defense sucks. A lot of people are going to be like, "Oh no, McCaffrey's scary," but look, he's got some good upside. He's going against a team where they're going to have to do nothing but throw, and he's too quick for those linebackers to stop, regardless of what Belichick wants to do.
Yeah, so I agree with you on McCaffrey. Even though I'm not on Cam this week, I really love McCaffrey's upside. Uh, I'm willing to play him quite a bit this week. So moving on, though, the reason I probably won't be playing McCaffrey as much as I probably should is because the next guy on this list is on my hall pass list. He's actually my favorite play of the week, and that's Leonard Fournette.
Favorite play of the
Uh,
week? Wow.
Leonard Fournette is my favorite play of the week based on price, floor, and upside. I just love this matchup. I love this stack. Leonard Fournette and the Jacksonville Jaguar
Right.
defense. Leonard Fournette is going to do what Jay Ajayi should have done last week, and I'm in love with this play. This is my favorite
Yeah,
cash game running back.
like you just said, man, for the viewers, the people watching, man, that's a good strategy, like you said, a good stack with the defense. Because Jacksonville's defense is by far the best option on this slate going against the Jets. They've been outstanding this year. And with the defense holding up and doing what we expect them to do, that's going to equal more touches for Leonard Fournette. So I'm with you on that, man. I like a stack of Jacksonville D and Leonard Fournette for sure. I'm with you.
Cool.
Let's go ahead and talk. Carlos Hyde is going against Arizona. Arizona has been solid versus the run, man, only allowing 63 rushing yards a game to running backs, but Hyde has been solid. He's got a good, solid floor. He's a guy that you could put in cash games, but I don't see why when you can spend 100 more and just go Fournette and be even more comfortable. Let's go ahead and
Yeah.
keep going because I'm not too excited of
The
that.
next guy,
Go ahead.
you don't like Dalvin?
Oh,
Okay,
no.
so then we'll disagree because Dalvin
No,
Cook
I didn't
is
say I
he
don't
almost
like
made my
Dalvin.
hall pass.
No,
Sorry. I
I
thought
said
you were
let's
about to
move
skip
on from
over me.
Hyde. I don't like.
Oh, my
Yeah,
bad.
I'm not big on Hyde,
So
but Dalvin.
you're with me on
Oh yeah,
Dalvin.
yeah,
I love Dalvin. He was close to making that list. Like this feels like a week. Honestly, after building it several times, this feels like a week that I'm not gonna find much value at running back. The pricing is so tight, and it feels like you're gonna need these good running backs to provide that safety in cash games. Definitely in GPPs, it's always been a pretty good strategy to have wide receivers in your flex, but in cash games, it's a little bit different, and I'm tempted to rock Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette, and my boy LaShawn McCoy in my teams, and then just build
yeah.
around them and saving money
I
everywhere else
agree.
that I
I
can.
like Dalvin Cook, man. He's gotten 10 receptions through 3 games, so he's getting involved in that pass game. He's a high floor guy. He's a high floor, high ceiling. Against
Yeah,
Detroit, it's a solid matchup. I like Dalvin Cook at 65. I can't be against you on that. I
yeah.
love him.
That price is really
For
good.
sure.
All right,
DeMarco
go ahead and
Murray
move
going
to.
against Houston, no thank you. How do you feel?
Okay, agreed.
Okay.
Move on.
Joe
Joe
Mixon
Mixon,
versus Cleveland, actually.
I love. You love it too?
Yeah, this could be a good one, dude.
Nice.
Cleveland
Yeah.
is just
So
pathetic versus the run. I could literally put a helmet on and run for 100 plus yards against Cleveland.
right, and their new offensive coordinator, Bill Lazor, is giving him the ball, man. They're getting off of this freaking muddled committee that they have with Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard. It looks like Mixon might start getting the ball more. He is their most talented back, and it looks like Bill Lazor came in there to get AJ Green involved, and it looks like they're going to get Joe Mixon involved after those losses. You know what I mean? They cannot afford to lose
Yeah,
another game,
yeah,
and they're
like you
going
said,
to
Laser.
pull out all the
Yeah,
stops.
Laser's getting him involved, man. And I knew coming into the season that Mixon was the guy to watch in that backfield. He's definitely got some upside, man. He's a good play. I think at some point this year we're really going to be looking at him seriously a lot. I think he's a
Yeah.
good running back. Next up on the list, let's go ahead and cover C.J. Anderson.
CJ, like it,
Yeah,
like his matchup. They have a good point total this week, 47, and Denver's favored by less than 3 currently. I like CJ Anderson, but I want to throw another name
yeah,
out there. So I'm willing to risk CJ, but I also want to take a look at Jamal Charles because the way freaking Chris Thompson just destroyed Oakland this past game, I could see somebody breaking loose. You know, they see that blueprint and they want to kind of
right.
copy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know. We talked a little bit. I told you how I liked Simeon, so I'm gonna be playing some Simeon stacks. I like this matchup against Oakland at home. Simeon at home is just money so far this
I
year,
like that
and
you brought up
this is a
Jamal
great
Charles, man.
matchup.
I think Jamal is a good GPP play. He's only 4,200. He's a guy I don't think many people will be on, and it's a good matchup. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm glad you brought
I
him out,
like
man.
it.
A guy down in that area that I want to cover is Jaquez Rogers going against the Giants. If you watched my main video, then you will know I am big on Jaquez Rogers. Giants are worst in the league versus the run. Okay, they are horrible. This is finally he's getting a matchup. He just went against Minnesota, so don't even take that seriously. He's going against the Giants, which is just a perfect matchup, guys. They gave up 22 to Ezekiel Elliott. Abdullah doesn't count because he's garbage. And LeGarrette Blunt is LeGarrette Blunt. He just runs straight. But Jaquez Rogers is going to get a ton of touches. You already know he's the bell cow. Doug Martin's not involved there anymore. I love Jaquez Rogers here at 44, and I think a lot of people are going to be sleeping on him because he hasn't really done what he did last year when he got his opportunity.
Yeah, so he's going to be in a good position at that price. That's a good guy to try to save some cap room on. So I
Yeah.
agree with that. Now I'm not super high on him. I'm not super high on any of the low guys this week. Like I was saying, I love the top ones so much. But real quick, let me just throw one more out there. Bilal Powell at
Yeah.
4,600. I know they're up against a rough defense, and we're picking that defense everywhere, cash and GPP, just on everything, just about. But uh, Matt Forte is banged up, so
Yeah.
I think
By low,
I think if that.
yeah, Powell's going to be
Go ahead.
great, dude. I agree. But the
Okay,
problem is I mean, here's the deal. You know he's going to get the touches, but is he going to succeed versus that Jacksonville defense? Is the question.
like I said, it's just more of an opportunity
Right.
issue if Forte misses, and we'll have to
All right,
check the
so
status
we're
on that
running. I mean, we're already at
a
42
little bit
minutes in this
long.
video. Let's go ahead and cover wide receiver. We're going to roll through these guys fairly quickly. Antonio Brown versus Baltimore. He's always in play, man. If you have the money to spend up for him at 9,300, I'm not going to spend it, but if you want to, I don't see why not. He's fucking Antonio Brown. What do you feel about that?
And yeah, I'll let it move on to for speed. I don't want to steal your shine talking about the next guy because
Yeah.
I think
Oh
this
yeah.
moves
Odell
into hall
Beckham
pass
Jr. is
territory.
on my fucking list, man. He is definitely on
He's on
my
your hall
hall
pass list.
pass list. Odell Beckham's got an amazing matchup versus Tampa Bay, a team that's given up over 177 reception yards to wide receivers this year. They just gave up 40 DraftKings points to Stephon Diggs. It's an amazing matchup for Odell Beckham, and like we talked about before, we love Eli, so why not love? Of course, you gotta love Odell as well. So yeah, Odell
Well,
at 89.
here's the deal. I think that's gonna have to turn into a threesome because he's on my hall pass list too.
I'm not involved in a fucking threesome with Mike with you, motherfucker.
All right, all right. No, I love Odell for the same reason I put Eli on the hall pass list. Odell has a great matchup, especially if Grimes misses, and with all that Tampa Bay injuries, I'm all over it this week. I love Odell. It's going to prevent me from having Antonio. Julio Jones, obviously always in play, guys. You know what I mean? If you want to rock some Julio, nobody's going to fault you. The next guy on the list that we like is AJ Green.
Yeah.
AJ Green has a great matchup. I think he's
Oh
primed.
yeah.
Bill Lazor is making sure that he's getting the ball, and so he had 13 targets, 111, and one touchdown last week. I could see him doing
For
that
sure.
again pretty
Love
easily.
AJ Green. He's definitely in play here, but let's keep moving on. Brandon Cooks
Yep.
versus Carolina, amazing matchup for him, and that's a high point total. Mike Evans going against the Giants. The Giants are solid in their secondary. That's why I love Jaquez as well. That's another reason. But Mike Evans gets force fed the ball. So I don't see why not. At 74, I'd rather Brandon Cooks or, yeah, I'd definitely rather Brandon
They're
Cooks
they're
or
they're
Keenan
just
Allen.
they're just these guys aren't fitting my builds this week just because I like my running backs
Right,
more.
exactly. Keenan Allen,
But we love
yeah,
you, Keenan. Great
great
spot.
spot for Keenan Allen going against Philly, who's given up 187 reception yards a game to wide receiver. I love him and Phillip Rivers this week. Love them. Stephon Diggs going against Detroit. Now, keep in mind, Darius Slay is a very solid corner. He was able to hold Julio in some check. All right, he did well versus Julio Jones, so I can see him definitely doing well versus Stephon Diggs. I know they kind of force feed him the ball in that offense, but still, just keep an eye on that. I think Adam Thielen is a very good play in this one because Darius Slay is going to shadow
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs, and that's going to open up Adam Thielen. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
for sure. I love Adam. He's making quite a bit of the teams and fitting the builds
yeah,
that
and
I'm
he's a
doing.
good
So
price,
I'm
man.
with you on
He's a
that.
good price, so yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead. We already talked about how much we love Zeke, so I don't know if we really got to get into Dez. Pretty much with Dez, you
Right.
know that
So we
he's
love Zeke.
yeah.
So we're off of Dez a
Pretty
little bit.
much.
I'm
You
with you
know
on
he's
that.
always got that potential to catch a touchdown. I mean, the Rams are giving up over a touchdown a game to wide receivers. I mean, you know he's got that potential to get a touchdown, but still, I mean, we're big on Zeke, man. Zeke's gonna eat. DeAndre Hopkins versus
Yeah.
Tennessee. I love DeAndre Hopkins. I love Hopkins and Watson in this matchup. Absolutely. Like literally
Yeah.
love these guys. All right, DeAndre.
Did he make your hall pass
Yes, him
list?
too,
Is
dude.
DeAndre
I'm
on your
starting
hall
to
pass?
stack. I've got so many
Right.
dudes on my hall pass right now. Yeah,
Awesome.
DeAndre Hopkins is definitely hall pass too. I love him, man. Uh, let's go ahead and
Like you're just playing the numbers. You're just playing your percentages.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's a
Just
game
in
of
case
numbers.
any of them did.
If you put a million people on your hall pass list,
Somebody will
eventually one of them will
accept.
hit.
Right.
Uh,
Let's go ahead and go down
all
to Larry
right.
Fitzgerald. That's the next guy that I find intriguing. The rest of the guys, eh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald going against San Francisco. We talked about this a little bit ago when we were talking about Carson Palmer. This is a good matchup for San Fran, and I expect San Fran to actually score versus Arizona. So I love Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, he's definitely played. That price is still begging to be played. It's like the slate opened before the Monday night game, and it is probably basing it off of ownership from this past week was probably off just because of the first 2 weeks, but his price didn't adjust. His price should be a little bit higher. You passed over a guy that I need to talk about though, just because I do have my love for the Simeon
Uh-huh.
stack. Demarius Thomas matched up with Simeon is definitely going to be good, and Simeon matched up with Emmanuel Sanders will be
Yeah, no,
good.
yeah. I
So I
was
just
just
wanted to
about to
talk
talk
about
about
that.
those two guys once I got to Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah, I like both those receivers versus Oakland. The whole thing with me is that I don't know if Oakland. I mean, Oakland just got annihilated by Washington. I don't know if Oakland really has much success against Denver at the Mile High, man. So I don't know. I'm leaning more towards trying to go CJ. I think they're gonna run the ball a lot. I don't
Look,
know.
Oakland let down,
Right.
okay, but they are way better than they showed on Sunday night. I don't want that recency bias to be stuck on our heads. I know Denver's D is amazing. I get that, okay, and but Oakland can score the ball. Oakland can move the ball. Obviously, keep
I
the
mean,
Crabtree injury in mind,
I
but
mean, Denver's only allowing 202 passing yards a game, dude. I mean,
they're
yeah.
legit. I
And
know. I'm not
and
playing the
and
Oakland
keep this in
side.
mind as well. Derek Carr, the only game that he's gotten over 20 DraftKings points so far is against the Jets, and they're bottom in the league versus the pass, and he could still only get 21. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Right. I'm not saying that the Oakland side is the side you want to
No,
be
I know,
on,
but
but
that's the thing.
Vegas.
If you're bad on the Oakland side, why would you be big on the Denver side?
Right. So if you're on that No, but see, I'm not bad on the Oakland side, so I'm not with you on that. Is all
Oh,
I'm
you
saying.
agree with
Like
me?
I'm on more line with the Vegas. I'm more in line with this 47 point total and Denver only being a 2.5 point favorite. So
Yeah, we're
I'm hoping
opposite.
that
I
this
think
game
I
is more
think
competitive.
Vegas is out of their
Exactly.
minds in this one.
Right. So you would be fading it and hedging that
Yeah.
way, but I still kind of like it, and I'm hoping that more people are fading and hedging that way because I do
Yeah,
want to
in
play the
GPP I can
Denver
see why,
stack.
but yeah, definitely don't try to risk them in cash. No reason.
All right.
Let's
No, no, sir, on Kelvin because of this injury. We'll keep it
I do want to
updated.
say Chris Hogan,
And
man. I do like Chris Hogan versus
oh
Carolina.
yeah, sorry,
The
I
Carolina's
skipped
allowing
him.
a lot of reception yards. I said ever since Norman left Carolina, their secondary is not good. Now they have great linebackers with Kuechly. They're very good versus the run and all that, but New England doesn't need to run anyway. Okay, they're gonna throw a lot. They're gonna run the
Right.
score up. Chris Hogan's gonna get involved. I like Chris a lot.
All right, let me get these next two
Go
out the
ahead.
way. Amari Cooper is basically the Cam Newton of wide receivers. Okay, he is only in a couple GPPs. All right, you cannot play this man right now. He just keeps pooping his pants. I mean, seriously.
Right.
I need to send this man some
Yeah.
Charmin. His Heine is not Charmin shiny. All right.
Right. No. Yeah.
If you guys know that, go look that up on YouTube.
Yeah.
That
My uncle loves that fucking song,
Charmin
dude.
Charmin Shiny or Heine is so Charmin Shiny song on
Listen.
YouTube, guys. It's
Okay. Listen,
hilarious.
guys.
This
Guys.
man this man's Heine is
Listen.
dirty as
From
hell.
me.
All right, he's pooping
Look.
his pants.
This is coming from me, guys. Don't go watch the video. Don't go don't go listen to the song. Okay, you're gonna realize that
Look,
my uncle likes it
it's
much more than
better
you do.
if you listen to it on the radio when it just comes on as a radio ad. That thing is hilarious. But then you go watch that little commercial.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's pretty
Other than
bad.
Amari Cooper's
But
Heine,
hold on. I gotta go. I
here
gotta
we
go to the
go. Go
next
ahead.
guy. All right, so. This guy makes my hall pass list. That's why I gotta talk about him. Sammy Watkins. Please, man, you can do this. Dallas's secondary is horrible. All right, Dallas cannot cover you. You are younger, faster, stronger than the old Larry
Hold on. Time out.
Fitzgerald,
Time out.
who
Time out.
just
Time out. Time out. Time out. Did you just say he's stronger? Sammy Watkins is the most fragile motherfucker in the league. I had to cut off the dramatic piano because that's the most ridiculous.
turn back
Listen.
on the dramatic
You were too
piano.
hype.
You're messing up my
Go
flow.
ahead. Okay. Go.
You are messing
Go.
up my flow. You are younger, faster,
Hold
stronger.
on. Wait, time out. You did it again.
Listen,
I'm not gonna let
this
you say that.
this man
I'm not gonna let you say
listen,
that.
this man needs to be in Old Spice
No, dude.
commercials. That is how badass
Listen,
he's
he
gonna
looked great
eat.
last week versus San Francisco, and I understand Dallas is an amazing matchup. I'm not saying he's
Let
a
me
bad play,
let me
but don't ever say he's
let me finish my
strong
damn point.
and he's not a fragile little fucking. He's fragile.
I'm just look. Larry Fitzgerald is ancient. All right, I love the man. He is a beast, Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. But it's Sammy Watkins' time, and our boy Fitzgerald went off for 13, 149, and a touchdown against my
Yeah, Cowboys are
Cowboys.
gonna. Yeah,
All right,
my
there
grandma
is
can do that.
nothing. There is nothing scary about this matchup. I like their offense now. I like their potential, and I think this is going to be a good game. So I love some Sammy Watkins. He is on my hall pass list. And speaking of that, his teammate is not on my hall pass list. But if you're looking to save some money, I like this. This is a good spot for our boy
Oh
Cup.
yeah.
Okay, at 4,300, Cooper Cup is a good little value play that I'm keeping my eye on and going to roll
Oh
him
yeah.
out there.
Definitely,
Go ahead, man.
dude. All right, so
We already hit
yeah,
on Thielen. So
we're
if you
gonna
want to
just
skip,
quickly cover the rest. These are the value guys. Adam Thielen, we talked about him. Love Adam Thielen. I'm with my uncle with Sammy Watkins. I agree. Sammy is very fragile. He could stub his toe and end up not playing. So keep an eye on that. But he is a great receiver, and he's going against a horrible secondary. Agree. Adam Thielen, Sammy Watkins,
Devin
awesome.
Funchess.
Yeah, Devin Funchess.
Next guy on the list that
Yes,
we like,
yes,
Devin Funchess, is a good
yes,
value just because of target share and opportunities, especially if Kelvin
And
Benjamin's
even
out.
and
Next.
even if they do end up being able to contain McCaffrey, which I don't think they're able to do, if they do, that's going to open up even more for Funchess. So yeah, I like Funchess' situation. I have to mention Pierre Garçon, like I was talking about with Patrick Patterson. He's just hasn't been the same. Arizona's allowing 184 yards a game to wide receiver. Yeah, to what? Yeah, so it's not the best situation here. They gave up week one. They gave up 24 DraftKings points to Golden Tate. They were able to hold Des Bryant, but Des still got the touchdown. Ty Hilton, look at his quarterback throwing to him. I think Pierre Garçon ends up being decent here as well. I'm not super excited, but I think he's okay. A guy I really like as well, Rashard Matthews. I know they're going against Houston, and Houston's decent like we talked about. Numbers are inflated a little bit with the way New England did them. Okay, but Rashard Matthews is a good play here. He's been getting a ton of targets. Houston just gave up 35 DraftKings points to Brandon Cooks. Rashard Matthews isn't Brandon Cooks, but he's a bigger target, and he's a good option at 49. Go ahead and cover some.
All right, the two guys. Let me get two of these guys out while you're getting them out. They're in the same game. Okay, so we're gonna go Deshaun Jackson as the number 2 against New York Giants. Now we're expecting New York Giants to score, right? I've put them in my hall pass list. We both are on Odell. We're both on Eli's on my hall pass list. So Sterling Shepard is also going to be in there. So these guys up against each other in a stack. I'm liking it.
Okay.
Go for it, bro.
Real cheap options. I want to get down to the real cheap guys that you can really take advantage of. One of my favorite value receivers on this slate is Travis Benjamin for the Chargers. He's only 3,900, and he just had a great game where he got 19 DraftKings points versus Kansas City. Week 1 against Denver, he got 13. Against Miami, he only got 2, but I'd expect him to bounce back against Philly, who's bad in their secondary, and I expect this game to stay close. He's amazing value at 39. Do you have any real cheap guys you like?
Yeah, so I'm going to go one guy right there by you, and once again, this is dependent on injuries also, so we'll keep you guys posted. But Jerron Brown, I really like his potential this week against San Francisco. He's getting more involved in that offense, and if we have banged up players, I really like his potential and upside.
I do want to mention one guy, and just to throw his name out there, Jordan Matthews. We saw when he was playing in Philly that he has that potential. We know what he can do. He's been kind of just this year with 8, 6, and 9 as his first 3-week DraftKings points numbers that he dropped. But he's going against Atlanta. You know, they're going to be down. They're going to be airing it out a lot. Jordan Matthews could end up being a real sleeper at 39 too. I'm just saying.
And let me just throw 3 out there real quick. Super cheap punt plays to save money, salary cap, if you want to pay up at running backs or wherever, at QB. Benny Fowler, Denver against Oakland. He's already had some games. He had a multi-touchdown game. All right, if Crabtree is out and Denver goes off the way we're hoping, Seth Roberts could be a value play. And then Ricardo Lewis, all those 3 guys right there, 33, 33, and 32, almost the minimum. I'm willing to take pump plays and GPPs on those guys. I have no other names in wide receivers.
I'm about good as well. All right, so let's go ahead and touch on tight ends. We're not going to spend too much time on tight end because tight end's kind of a thin crew this week when it comes to matchups that I really look at and I love. You got Gronk going against Carolina. Obviously, Gronk's always available. He's 66, which seems reasonable for a guy that could be but like we said, Carolina's got Kuechly, who's one of the best cover linebackers in the league, if not the best. And he's going to be matched up with Gronk here. Kuechly has held Kobe Fleener to 3, Clay to 5. Obviously, Kittle week 1 is a nobody, but he still dropped 7. But still, Kuechly is a very good cover linebacker. He's going to be guarding Gronk, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I definitely prefer the receivers of New England more than Gronk in this matchup. How do you feel about Gronk? Are you willing to pay up?
It's going to be tight. Pricing's super tight this week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit him in. I want to because the only other great solid tight end that I like is Ertz, and he's priced right there with him. So it's not hard to fade Gronk like it was the last couple of weeks. But there's some value at tight end, you know, at basically $3,000 less than Gronk that I can roll with. So let's just throw their names out.
I'll go ahead and throw out Cameron Brate for Tampa Bay going against the Giants. Giants are worst in the league versus tight ends. They've been giving up nearly 70 reception yards a game to tight end, and that's just something they've been – I mean, they gave up week 1, they gave up 18 to Witten. Week 2, 15 to Ebron. Week 3, 18 to Ertz. Cameron Brate's going to be a solid play here for Tampa Bay. Who do you got?
Yeah, yeah. Tight ends against New York Giants,
Yeah.
safe all the time. I definitely like Charles Clay on the opposite side of Atlanta in the dome, trying to keep up, and then Jared Cook, Oakland. Hopefully on the opposite side, trying to keep up with Denver. If I'm on the Denver side, I have to be on with
Right.
Jared Cook.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think Cook's a good GPP play. Denver's been giving up big numbers to tight ends, so if it does end up turning out that way, he could be a great play. He's got a high ceiling. I feel like he's got a high floor as well. I don't think against Denver is a very good matchup. When you want to attack Denver, it's to the tight end. That's where you want to take advantage.
Yeah.
Charles Clay, I totally agree. He's one of my favorites. The game flow's just perfect for him. Atlanta sucks versus tight end, and Buffalo's going to have to throw. I love Charles Clay as well. Anybody else you just want to throw out there?
Right.
Because I'm not really liking him anymore.
So there's a couple honorable mention for Ryan Griffin. His price is kind of high, but he gets an honorable mention from me. But there's two guys at 3,000 that I like and I'm going to be willing to play this week. Austin Safarian Jenkins. I expect them to be down. The game script to favor him. He got 6 targets in his first game back, so I like him. And then I also like, if I'm liking Eli and I'm liking that whole pass game, I'm going to play a little bit of Evan Ingram
I'm
as
going to
well.
throw out one more name, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about our tight ends we like. Mercedes the GOAT Lewis.
I am not chasing that. I think he's had like 3 touchdowns in the last 3 years, and then he got 3 touchdowns in one game.
Here's the thing. Against the Jets, their secondary is very bad. So, I mean, through the air, I think Jacksonville is actually going to be okay. And Mercedes Lewis, if the Jets are able to somehow keep this close, and Jacksonville has to throw the ball, I do like Mercedes Lewis, man. I agree with you. This dude's like literally a huge punt play. But we saw last week he could be good for GPPs. 2,800 is all he costs. That's a huge savings. It's a good matchup. So hey, I had to throw it out there at 28. That's super cheap.
Yeah.
All right.
And
yeah, defense. Obviously.
It's
Yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars this week,
Pretty
right?
much.
I mean, we're not even getting much of a discount to target Cleveland at 100, so I doubt I'm going to land on them.
Battling between two guys, and that's between the Bengals and the Jaguars. I really love the Bengals.
But I wish there was more of a discount, $100 discount. So maybe you can mix it in, but man, it's so hard to get off Jacksonville. For me, I just feel like their defense is way better than
right,
Cincinnati's.
but here's the thing: Jacksonville's going to be a very popular defense.
I agree.
I mean, Bengals might get lower owned.
Right. I'm looking through. You see anything?
Anybody else I would possibly
I
try?
guess, dude. I guess going the opposite way of what I've been trying to sell people on is maybe the Broncos D against Oakland after what they looked like on Sunday night.
Right.
And if Crabtree's out, I mean Denver could be good. So I would be willing to roll Denver on games where I'm not doing that stack and hoping for it to shoot out. You see anything else?
The only thing, I mean, I'll mention that San Francisco's taking nearly 4 sacks a game. So Cardinals could get some sacks in this one and be okay. Cardinals defense got 8 versus Detroit, and then 10 versus the Colts, and then was non-existent versus Dallas. I think at home here against San Francisco, they might get some sacks. I'm a little worried because that San Francisco offense seems like they're getting it going. But still, I mean, as a punt defense, if you want to be contrarian and different, Cardinals defense might be okay. And last but not least, I'll talk about Vikings defense. I like Minnesota versus Detroit, man. Minnesota's one of the best defenses in the league, and they're at home. So I like Minnesota. I could go with them too in GPP.
Yeah, I feel you. So that about wraps up our slate breakdown, guys. We're gonna move on to our next segment. We didn't want to bore you with it at the beginning in case we ran long, but since we finished breaking down the slate, if you're still with us, all right, we're gonna do our little beer goggle segment that you guys liked.
Let's go.
All right. So now we can just relax and chill. If they're still with us, they're with us, and if they're already gone, they're gone. All right, man. You want to give? I think you're going to go first on our beer goggles. These are the guys that really let us down and hurt us last week in our games.
And
all right?
I'm pretty much just going to go with one guy. because he just really broke my heart. And so, Jack Doyle, if you guys watched the podcast last week, you know that it just killed me. I was so big on Jack. We were even on first name basis. I was literally just calling him Jack. But now, I don't even want to call him anything, and I don't want to talk to him. Fuck you, Jack. Never playing you again. And that's the end of that. Yeah, he's beer goggles, dude. He looked super sexy before the slate started, and then he just turned out being fucking ugly.
Look, if you go back and listen to our podcast last week, guys, if you haven't listened to it already, you guys are going to realize I was the designated driver for Cam ATL that night. All right? I was trying to keep him safe and get him home, and I was not going to get on Jack. But my boy, my nephew, he started sending me some drinks, all right? And he got me liquored up and drunk. And Jack Doyle started looking good to me. All right? He was looking great. And he was a 10 up in the club, but oh man, I wanted him gone in the morning for sure. Get away. Yeah, I feel you, man. I lost some on Jack Doyle. My guys are. I need some background music.
I got you.
You got me. All right, guys. I'm sure y'all have had the feeling of being in a nice single entry tourney with about 400 guys in it, you know, and you go into the Sunday night game in the top 50 with 180 player minutes remaining. Okay, you are the top team with 180 player minutes remaining. You have a clear shot at winning this thing, taking that first place finish, and you are excited. These guys are beautiful. I'm talking about my boy Crabtree, Terrell Pryor, and Jason Witten. Y'all had me turned on, but you guys let me down. All right, you guys let me down. I can't believe I ended up cashing.
Honestly,
I still finished
dude,
like seven.
It's not the first time a dude has turned you on. All right. All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Craig, thank you for joining me as always. It was a great podcast, man. Everybody, make sure you drop that like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we are out.
Peace, guys. Go to greenlightdfs.com.